It's Monday, July 19th, coming up live on The View. Jumpstart your week with an entire show of the hottest topics on TV. From Tiger's mistress checking into celebrity rehab to Mel Gibson's ex coming out in his defense. And how would you feel if your kid's school sent home a letter informing you that your child is fat? Then, she was the CIA spy whose cover was blown in a scandal that rocked Washington. Valerie Plame is exposing who she thinks masterminded the leak that ended her career. Plus, giving you an insider's view of the U.S.-Russia spy swap. All that, hot topics, and more, coming up live on The View.
Well, hello, and welcome to welcome to a day of hot topics right here on The View. And
Are you feeling all right, Whoopi?
I don't know what you mean.
You're a little woozy.
I'm jet lagged.
You're jet lagged because you just came back
I
from.
just came back from Vienna.
Vienna.
Well, Wien, yes, for AMFAR.
Yeah.
Because, you know, today kicks off the International AIDS Conference. And so people from all over the world were there, and it was an insanely huge party, and I just got back and...
Did you party too much, Whoopi?
Well, I may have partied too much, but, you know, I have to fly drugged.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So I'm still slightly drugged. and I'm sure somewhere in me I'm still partying.
You look a little drowsy, truthfully.
I know. So just, if you see me struggling to read, like, simple words like, Sherry, you have something very hot to talk about, there's a reason. It's... Okay, but something fantastic is happening, and we're going to let Sherry tell you because it's really quite wonderful.
I am so excited for those of you who are fans of Janet Ivanovich. She's got a series of books based on a character named Stephanie Plum, who works at a high-end lingerie store, and then she gets fired and becomes a bounty hunter. So she's written 16 best-selling books.
Yes.
The first, and one is going to be made into a movie, her first book called One for the Money. Now, this is exciting because I'm such a fan. I've been reading her books for years. I first read the first book, and there was a prostitute named Lula in the books, and I read it, and this woman, she's got a heart of gold, she's fun, she's colorful, curses a lot, and loves her bigness. And I said, when I first read this book 5 years ago, I was like, if they ever make this a movie, I swear I want to play this role. And then somebody tweeted me and said, you know, this is in production. And I called my agent, and I'm like, please call. I bugged him and bugged him. Please let me audition for this because I know this character. I love her.
Did you get it?
I got it! I'm rambling on. It stars Katherine Heigl as the lead role of Stephanie Plum, and the two main characters, Ranger and Morelli, are Jason O'Mara and Daniel Sunjata. Nice. So,
you know what's funny too, Sherry, is it's so cool to see this happening for you. It's funny because one day I was running out of here after work, and I see Sherry in the dressing room, and she's like, "Do I look enough like a hooker?" And I said,
I had a tube top on and a tight little mini skirt and 5-inch heels with all my Rapunzel hair. You remember when I looked like
right on your way to the audition? It was just cool to know that you got that.
Me with the tube top.
Oh, you should see my clothes, Whoopi, what they got me in. Oh,
you're in a tube top?
And less. Yeah, I'm playing a hooker. The first book, she's a hooker, and she evolves.
Not a hooker in New York, because no hookers in New York have jackets. Now,
not New Jersey.
That's what's supposed to be Jersey.
Oh, yes, they do. But I'm just saying, you know, not that I know for sure, but...
You haven't experienced it,
Not New Jersey, I haven't, but never mind. Last week, TMZ reported former Tiger... Oh, this brought us back. Tiger Woods' mistress, Rachel Yucatel, was signing on to The Celebrity Apprentice.
Wow.
Oh, wait, it gets better. And this morning, it's being reported that she's Mistress checking into celebrity rehab.
First of all,
she's
famous for sleeping with Tiger Woods. So what is she going to be, a virgin again when she's done? I mean, what is she doing
And it was reported with David Boreanaz. Remember from Bones? It was reported that it might have been Rachel.
What's her addiction?
Her addiction is unspecified pills.
No, her addiction is to fame. You could tell she loves fame.
So she's got this girl now. This is how, I don't know if it's a reward for sleeping with the married man. You get a reality. You get 2 reality shows.
That didn't happen to me.
No, because you know what? You had to work for your stuff.
No kidding. I was working before the married man, after the married man, to pay off the married man.
Number one, you worked.
Yes, I did. And you know, speaking of fame, Spencer Pratt. You remember Spencer? Yeah, Spencer from Heidi, who doesn't look like Heidi, but we keep calling her Heidi, but we're not sure who she is. Well, Spencer Pratt tells People magazine that the reason he and Heidi Montag split up was because, quote, I'm a fame whore and I'll never grow out of it. Heidi knows this and didn't want that.
Oh, baloney. She's the same as he is. And who gets custody of peroxide? That's what I want to know. I mean, the thing about it is that she went and got those 11, did she have 11 surgeries?
Like 10.
Well, 10, and then he's the last one. She extricated him. She cut him out. So 10 surgeries, what was that for? Because, you know, she wants to look good at the mall? I don't think so.
Maybe she never felt enough, I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of ways to justify what she did, and it's, you know, sad to see anyone feel that they need to go through that, but maybe she was asking
Do you think he
for
had
love
anything
from him and didn't feel it.
Do you think he might have had anything to do with her trying to do all those surgeries because he wanted
really
fame so much?
than just
Like
the
her
relationship.
Svengali is what I'm asking.
I don't know. I think Heidi wanted to be like how she considered other actresses to be. And so she did everything she thought that other actresses were doing. Because remember, she said she wanted to be like an action figure and she wanted to like be the karate woman or something. I don't know.
And talk to us about the whys behind it, because I feel like everyone's spinning one way or another why she did it, and I feel like she's the best person.
She hasn't done many appearances.
No.
I wish she'd come.
I think she's actually having second thoughts. That's the bitch about
when you get this stuff done.
surgery.
Extremism.
Is you can, you know, once you get it and you go, damn, I don't like the way this looks. Too bad. You're stuck. You can't remove anything else. You know, it's very scary.
Well,
but
I'm sure Spencer will come on and talk about it for Heidi. If we would like him to come on.
Well, isn't she divorced from him?
Co-host.
She's divorced from him, right?
Yeah, I think they're
So
going
no,
through.
I don't think it's legally divorced yet.
Oh, not yet.
Separated, maybe?
Well, how about this? Maybe they can have, Spencer can have a conversation with the cast of Jersey Shore.
What are they doing?
Because they are...
I love how Snooki's in with the guys. She's all the way
always
I don't know.
with the guys. No.
So what are they doing?
Well, apparently, they are so unhappy with their contracts. They've gone on strike and refused to do scenes for season 3.
Well, now you remember the whole cast went on strike last year, and they banded together and they got more money. So I have a feeling that they might get the money that they're asking
I don't know.
for.
I feel like if they
the
dangle
situation
it,
is
the
doing
situation
side
could,
deals.
if something's dangled in front of him, he might. Maybe they're offering him and Snooki a little bit
getting
more.
a different, isn't he in a different contract?
Yeah, look at
He
it. But see,
is.
last time when he was on here, though, Elizabeth, you asked him to show his pecs.
Bones?
I know, right there. That is weird. That is so. Look at that. That is weird.
It's like,
You know, don't
It's like
let
it's leading
listen,
to nothing.
Just sit your... Probably is.
so maybe he's a Ken doll.
A Ken doll?
Maybe he's a Ken doll, and that's what everybody's shocked
No,
about.
but he's the smartest one of the group because he knows you have to get out to pee. Out of the hot tub, you have to get out. So he's the brightest one. But he is, they're all so annoyingly stupid that it drives me bananas. I'm just saying.
But you know, but I have to say, when he was on here last time, do you remember? He is the smartest one of the group because one of you guys asked him to show his abs, and he said, I can't because I don't want to mess up the brand. Now, he's got a book deal with MTV.
Yeah.
He's doing a side deal with MTV,
I wonder who's
allegedly.
writing that.
Well, we might find out because Kathy Griffin is under fire from Senator Scott Brown after comments she made to CNN's John King and Dana Bash on her Bravo show, My Life on the D-List. Take a look.
Scott Brown,
That's excellent.
who is a senator from Massachusetts and has 2 daughters that are prostitutes.
It's actually not really funny, and I know his daughters, actually, and they're anything but that.
That's a
And
joke,
they have.
Elizabeth.
You know what, though? Here's the thing.
Just a joke.
No. We've always said politicians' kids are off limits. If someone went around calling Barack Obama's 2 girls prostitutes, people would be up in arms. Laid back, Kathy Griffin's got to back up on that one right now. Back it up. KG.
But wait a second, isn't he the one who trotted his daughter around him when he accepted the speech and said, you know, that thank you,
Any
and said
politician
that
has
she's
their family
available.
around
Once
them.
you trot the kids out, the Obamas do not trot the kids out, if you'll notice.
Really?
Bristol and the boyfriend, there,
Every
Levi,
politician.
who drops his dropped his Levi's to show his Johnston. They're pushing a reality show now.
But
But
you
I
know,
take them
and
out
also,
there. They're game.
Wait a minute. Are you justifying what Kathy Griffin said about
I'm
these
just
2
saying.
young girls?
Wait, how old are they? How old
Don't
are they?
do it. It's not just a joke. We said off limits. Everyone said off limits. Get in line and cut it out. It's not okay.
I agree with. I want to ask how old are Scott Brown's daughters? Are they like 19? Because I want to know.
Yeah, they're grown
Because
girls.
if they're almost grown, it's a little bit of a difference between being a 10 and 11. Although I do
wouldn't be
agree
okay
with
if
you.
we said it about Chelsea Clinton. It
would
wouldn't be
not be. Well,
okay.
Chelsea Clinton was young too when people were calling her names.
Not
grown up.
Either,
Is it okay? It's
Either
not.
it's okay or
It's
it's
not okay, but you know it's Kath.
But the
You know
point.
what she
But the
does.
point is,
I
you
don't
can't be
justify that.
surprised that Scott Brown is annoyed. That's his kids. Those are his children.
And he should be
know?
annoyed.
Wait a minute. Let me finish
I'm
the point.
not justifying
But
Elizabeth.
you
I
said
agree
it's
with
Kathy.
you.
That's what she does.
No, let me
Mass
finish.
murderers
Let me
kill
finish.
people.
I'm
It's
saying-
just what they
I'm saying
do.
Kathy Griffin, when you go ahead and you give Kathy Griffin fire like what we're doing now, she loves
it. She's
so
like
when you don't say
smelling
anything,
this.
Kathy has no
Kathy
publicity.
Griffin is a mass murderer. Did I just hear that?
She's murdered people's reputation. She's murdered people's
But on
integrity.
this show,
Can't believe we're talking
we've
about her.
done the same thing. We've had, you know, there are folks at the table who have said things about various politicians' kids, and we've all jumped on them and said, no, it's not okay for the kids. So, you know, it comes right down to, you know what?
They're 19 and 20 years old, Whoopi. We just found
It doesn't
19
matter.
and 21.
It doesn't matter how
They're
old
people.
they are.
They're women. Just to call a woman a prostitute as a
talk
joke
about-
is
but we
despicable.
talk- Well, when you're saying 19 and 20 years old, we talk about grown women all the time. Heidi is only a couple years older than 20. They're grown people. They're not little kids.
No, they're not little kids.
And anyway,
But
so
if
when does-
someone
when
has
does the
said
cutoff?
the cutoff is
40.
you're. Yeah, listen. If someone, no. If somebody talked about my daughter as a joke like that, I would beat their ass.
But you're the mother.
That's our point. So you can't be surprised that Scott Brown took offense at it. Those are his kids.
Do you
He's a class
feel
act,
it?
and he's
Do
not
you
gonna go
feel
after
it
her.
when you don't say it and you go, you know what? She's a non sequitur, so I'm not even I'm gonna ignore it. Or do you give it more fire when you,
know
go?
what?
That
If
gives
she
me
wanted to be-
This is
daughters.
Kathy we're talking
You
about.
defend your daughters against
if
scum
you
who comes
wanted to
after
be-
them and calls them something like a prostitute.
Kathy, don't say
Scum now? Are you calling her scum?
Maybe
I
I
hear things coming out of your mouth.
All right, where's my mask? I got to take off my hair. I'm gonna have to fight with Elizabeth.
I'm going to give a different
Your
joke.
daughter, if someone called
I'm
your
gonna give
daughter a
a
prostitute,
different
would you think
joke.
they'd be scum? I'd call someone scum if they called my
My
daughter a
daughter's not a
prostitute.
prostitute, so it's funny to me.
You're a comic. You're a comic.
No,
It's so funny.
it's annoying to you as it is to any parent. But perhaps had she said, and this, what I'm about to say now, is a joke. Let me say it again so no one misunderstands what I'm saying.
Excuse.
If she had said, that's Scott Brown, and from what we've seen in Playgirl, he should be a congressman, then you can have some fun. Or it was so small I couldn't see. If you keep it on him,
It's better.
But can I
it's
say-
much
but
better.
then when we-
Then you go
Kathy
to the
Griffin
kid. Yeah.
made a comment years ago about Dakota Fanning that when she was 16, she's going to be in rehab like everybody
I got
else.
her then,
They
too.
pulled her off the red carpet. This is what she does. I'm saying, do you expect anything
This is what she
different
does.
to
It's
come
not
out
an
of Kathy's
excuse. It's not a
mouth?
justification.
Fanning in rehab.
On
That's
her
what I
no,
want.
she's not.
No, she's just
On
in a
her
movie.
show, you know what? What Kathy Griffin does on her show, she can say and do whatever she wants.
Right.
The minute she goes to work outside of there, if she goes to work for CNN or for ABC or LMNP or any of those folks, they have a whole list of stuff that they're not going to put up with. And the one safe place she can do it was her show.
Yes, and she can. And people buy tickets, and if that's what they want, go see it.
And this is giving Kathy more publicity than she could have ever
excited
asked for,
now.
Kathy.
The discussion really was whether I know it's true. The discussion in the makeup room was whether Dana Bash should have laughed. That was the discussion because she's a news person.
She could have been nervous. It doesn't matter.
Dana Bash has a sense of humor, knows that the girls are not prostitutes, and then chuckled at it. That's all.
And as a matter of fact, Kathy is a comic, so you say outrageous things, we expect to get a laugh, even if we...
But remember, comics, we know better than anybody else. We can say what we want, but sometimes the giant jaw comes and grabs our behinds and chews it up.
So watch out, Kathy.
So watch out sometimes. It's funny to some, and it ain't funny to others. But you know what's funny right now? The fact that I'm still sitting up straight. And able to say to you that we'll be right back with more Hot Topics. So, there's a slow-moving thing there that now says parents in Massachusetts are angry that schools are sending students home with so-called fat letters, warning parents that their kids' body mass index could mean future weight problems.
Now, you know, one of the parents of one of the girls in the school complained because apparently this little girl was 90 pounds and she ran track, I think, and was a gymnast. And they sent this letter home. I don't know
how old was she at 90 pounds?
She was in high school, so I don't know, but her body mass index, they sent a letter home.
Oh, so she was too thin.
Maybe she was too thin. Now, they said it didn't bother this little girl, but other kids it might bother. For me, as a parent, and I have diabetes, you know, diabetes is such a big deal with people now. I think that would be a good thing because it's like we're taking action. Michelle Obama's talking about obesity amongst kids. And so I think if you notice something, send something home so parents maybe...
Well, they're saying that this generation will be the first generation, I guess in history, that will not have the same lifespan as we have.
Because
that they will die younger than their parents.
Because why?
Because of obesity.
They don't get any exercise. There are no
gym
classes.
Kids
don't go outside and play dodgeball, which you know is that still illegal now? Dodgeball.
It's illegal in some states.
Dodgeball is illegal. You know, you can't play baseball unless both teams win. I mean, you know, we have boxed children in so much and given them so little to do except to sit and eat. We don't anything.
What are they doing with this? Because I'm not quite certain I want the school responsible for telling me my child's BMI. I think that, you know, there may be a better way to go about this. But then what are they doing with the information besides sending it to parents? Are they adjusting those programs? Are they bringing back PE?
A lot of schools are trying to, but, you know, a lot of times you will see children who are overweight, and then you look right to the right and you see the parents. Kids emulate what they see us doing.
So the parents don't even know the kids are overweight because they're overweight.
They might be in denial.
So I think need to be told, listen, this child is in danger of getting diabetes.
You have to be careful about how you do this, too, because giving kids the information themselves, you have to be careful. We heard about studies saying that obese kids are, a percentage more likely to get bullied. How are they distributing this information? They just have to proceed with caution.
A lot of times if the school says it or the teacher says it, the parents say, oh, my goodness, you know, we better do something. Sure.
So I think it would be really great if the states and the cities got together with the big supermarkets and said, listen, let's lower some of these prices because, you know, not everybody can go to Whole Foods.
Right.
So can we get some help here so that you can shop better? What, baby, what?
On that note, there's a guy who takes this bus around to communities, I think in Virginia, from organic markets, and he buses it into areas that ordinarily couldn't afford Whole Foods. It's a really cool story. I think I read it in People magazine this week.
You don't have to have Whole Foods to know how to make pasta fazool. I mean,
I don't know how to make pasta fazool.
There are ways to cook.
You know what? But I'm sorry, everybody doesn't cook. I don't cook.
I don't cook.
I'm not a good cook. But if someone is telling me that I can get healthier vegetables, and I'm looking at the prices, and I got 4 kids, and I know that's a lot of food. I want some help.
Right.
I need some help.
It's pesticides that's making the kids fat. It's fat, salt, and sugar that are doing
it's also a lack of eating.
The products that are highest in those ingredients are the least expensive. And to Whoopi's point,
you go to get the price of vegetables in general is what you're saying.
Yeah. How about you look on, and I'm not saying any kind of soda in particular, but check out the salt intake in the soda. Find out the salt and don't say a word about it, because you know what happened to me last time I talked about high fructose corn syrup. The corn folks were all, they popped me. But what I'm saying is that, there's salt in everything. If you can't pronounce what's in it, there's an issue.
Right.
But a lot of times I think young children, not that young, but let's say teenagers, should learn to cook. I really do.
Well, if
it's a very good thing to know how to cook.
It came out in the women's lib movement when they didn't teach cooking anymore, but they should open it up to both men and women now.
You're blaming Gloria Steinem for not cooking?
No. I'm saying it came. Look at what happened. It came out because it was primarily given to women. They should open it up to both sexes now in schools.
It'd be nice. You never saw guys in cooking class when we were kids.
They were in wood shop. Making birdhouses for some reason.
Yes, that nobody used. Because all the birds were dead. Anyway, we're going to go and come back because I got a little gas. We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.
I love that
Just a little tiny news that we may have mentioned last week, but BP has capped the oil well. Now, we'll see what happens. We all have our fingers crossed.
It's leaking a little bit.
Who isn't?
I know, exactly.
You did a commercial about that.
I use poise, baby.
Maybe
One good
BP
sneeze and BP. Okay.
Think about it. You'll get it in a minute.
And Mel Gibson's ex-wife, Robin, has come out in his defense. Let me say that one more time. Yeah. Mel Gibson's ex-wife, Robin, has come out in his defense saying he was always a wonderful and loving father. She says that she came out because she found the allegation of violence, quote, so far from the truth, she just couldn't not speak to it. That was not her experience with Mel. Hey, he was with her, what, 12 of like 16 years.
So far from the truth, she knew with him, right?
She knew with him and the 12 kids.
But when you live with somebody so long.
She has 7 kids with him. She probably called him every name in the book already. But wasn't she listening to the tapes? I mean, to say that it's so far from the truth, you have to just listen to the tapes.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If she listened to the tape, she's been with this man for over 2 decades, or close to 2 decades. She's gone close to almost 30 years. So she's going, the man that I married, this is not the man that I was married to.
Has there been anything else? I'm sorry.
No, I just think if maybe being with a different person, it's like chemistry. You know what I mean? 2 reactives can cause a big explosion. So maybe the second was a little bit more reactive with him.
Any more word on the tape or anything?
Well, the guy from Radar told me the other night that there's 20 minutes out and they've got more. So
but now they're saying that the tapes might be doctored, pictures might be, Photoshop. They're not sure what the truth is. But I said before, when he was married to Robin, you never heard about anything like this from Mel. Everybody said he was a prankster.
And believe me, she was not scared of him.
Right, and then once he left her,
was there a change? Did it not even occur? I mean, we've been listening.
I think marriage does bring some stability, and in some cases, it
also brings violence to others, as we know.
It's the luck of the draw. Yeah. Some people are lucky. Some people would not.
You never know. You never know.
But I don't feel bad.
I know. I think we should all sing Kumbaya.
Listen, let me tell you about somebody who I admire and spend a little time with this weekend. 63-year-old Bill Clinton said he wants to climb Mount Kilimanjaro before he passes away. And I got us thinking, that's like a bucket list thing.
That's depressing to me.
I don't
want to hear before I die from anybody. I don't like it. It sounds
Bill Clinton's age. So, when you're 63, I think maybe, I don't know, you might be thinking more about your mortality as opposed to being, your age.
I think about it a lot now, but I just think having that makes you automatically think about leaving.
When I started thinking about it, this just struck me as I was talking to you guys. When my first friend passed from AIDS, he was 27.
Gosh,
And I thought, damn, because I remember the things that he wanted to do in his life. And I thought, what are the things that I want to do? And there are so many that maybe I will make myself a bucket list. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's in a funny way, a goal.
Well, I think that
maybe.
people think about, when I was a child, I was like, I guess 5 or 6.
Like a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And they said, they used to have us go under the desk in case there was a nuclear war in those days, remember? Which really... Trust them to really know what they're doing. And I used to think to myself, well, we're all going to go up in this nuclear holocaust. I didn't know the word holocaust yet, but this big bomb is going to kill us. So why should I bring my library books back?
I was like that. Can I say? Listen, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, Joy, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, because we were taught that Armageddon was going to come, and they thought Armageddon was the end of the world was going to come in 1975, and a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses sold a lot of their real estate, and I used to think if Armageddon comes, I didn't pay any of my bills because I was like, well, Armageddon's coming. I was $20,000 in debt. Armageddon didn't come. Pay off everything.
I thought you said Arm and Hammer.
Oh no, Armageddon.
And I kept thinking, why is Arm and Hammer coming?
Here's my question. Here's my question to the panel. Here's my question to the panel. Should I return the library books now?
No. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, because there are many atheists who are around today who are using blow dryers to debaptize themselves. Now, I'm being told we... Oh, my God.
I love how this guy has the diffuser on the blow dryer. He's got the diffuser.
Here's what I want to know. What is he wearing? Why is he wearing a hood?
He's wearing, it's supposed to be like a priest garb, and he's saying some crazy phrases in Latin.
But we're still wear that outfit. I could see you in that.
Something that scares me is whenever somebody with a hood has any kind of gun pointing at me. We'll be right back.
Secret agents back in the headlines, but one of the most notorious espionage scandals happened in 2003 when Valerie Plame Wilson's cover as a CIA agent was exposed by the media, and she became a pawn in a spy game that reached all the way to the Bush White House. Please welcome Valerie Plame Wilson. Now, undoubtedly, you are probably the most famous female spy here in the States. Before we get to the scandal, how does someone go about becoming a spy? What are the steps to that, and what kind of work were you actually doing?
Good morning. Becoming a spy, it's not as sexy or as maybe clubby as it used to be, where maybe you were tapped on the shoulder at your Harvard history class, and it was really very much the old boys network. Now, I think you go to CIA.gov and you submit your resume.
You say, I want to be a spy?
Well,
I worked at McDonald's as a cashier.
Got to start somewhere, you know? And it's a long, involved process. And it takes quite a few months, if not a year, to go through the whole thing for all the testing and the security background check and so forth.
But you're a very attractive woman, isn't it? Be in the middle of all that with these men? I'm serious. I mean, I think that, we think of these spies as having to do things that other women wouldn't have to do.
No. It's not, unlike what's portrayed in Hollywood, there isn't the honey trap. You don't use that. I think as in any, whether you're a lawyer, whatever profession you're in, if you want to pull people in and you're asking them, well, what are you doing? What is more attractive than having someone say, tell me about you?
Oh, I know.
And that just...
What man can resist that?
I want to go back to 2003. Your name was leaked to the media. It ended your CIA career. You believe your cover was blown by the Bush administration because your husband, former diplomat Joe Wilson, criticized the Bush administration's policy and research going on in Iraq. Can you go back to what happened? Were you actually covert at the time? Was your name indeed leaked prior to that by your own intelligence community? Tell us.
You don't have to take my word on it. There was Scooter Libby's trial, and a lot came out in that. There is no doubt I was covert at the time until when my name was in Robert Novak's column. What happened, very briefly to recap, because it was a long time ago, and this is a story that has had lots of threads. In February of 2002, the CIA asked my husband, Joe Wilson, to go to Niger and investigate claims of highly enriched uranium, yellow-cake uranium, going from Niger to Iraq. Right. If that were true, that would be really significant, because it would mean that Saddam Hussein was, in fact, seeking to reconstitute his nuclear program. So he went. He found that there was nothing to that, and he reported it back into intelligence channels. I had nothing to do with his trip whatsoever, other than the fact...
It's been alleged before that
it was, but the trial made it absolutely clear that wasn't true. That what happened was my boss said, Valerie, when you go home this evening, could you please ask your husband to come into headquarters next week? We want to talk to him about that. Of course, and that was the extent of my involvement. Then move forward to January 2003, and President George Bush gave his State of the Union address. He used the now infamous 16 words. Through the British government, we have learned that Saddam Hussein has sought significant quantities of uranium from Africa. That's 16 words. And then, of course, we went to war. And no WMD was found then or since. In July of 2003, my husband felt that he had this information, and he put it into a New York Times op-ed that said, and the title was, What I Did Not Find in Africa. And he said, this was the primary claim of the Bush administration. We don't want to see the smoking gun in the shape of a mushroom cloud and so forth. And that's 1 week later, then my name was exposed in retaliation.
Mm-hmm. Now that was leaked by Robert Novak, who is deceased now. Gone. But the former Deputy Secretary of State Richard Armitage, Karl Rove, and former White House spokesman Ari Fleischer were also leaked your name, but they were never charged. Now, and I understand that you tried to get a civil suit going, but it's been dismissed by the Obama administration. Is that true?
No, it
was dismissed twice, and then the Obama administration didn't follow up on that, right?
Well, we petitioned the Supreme Court, and they declined to hear it. But it was very clear, as the judge and the special prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald said in Scooter Libby's trial, there was a conspiracy. There were parallel movements to try. It wasn't just one. There were many within the White House and at the senior levels
to leak it,
to leak my name and to disparage and to discredit what my husband had written in his op-ed piece.
And Valerie, you said you and your husband, you have you have twins, a boy and a girl, 10 years old now, and you say that when your identity was leaked, it was a lot of stress on your marriage with your children. How did you deal with that?
It was when you go from where security and discretion is paramount, and I derived a great sense of satisfaction doing what I did, which was working on counterproliferation issues. To go from that literally overnight to having photographers on your lawn, particularly when you have small children, I found
They were 3 at the time.
They were just 3, and I found it to be extremely disorienting.
Yeah, but you didn't keep a low profile. You did do a photo shoot for Vanity Fair magazine.
We want to talk about all of that too, Valerie.
That all came later.
That was later.
That all happened.
We're gonna go forward. You're incredibly interesting, and we want to know more about this story, obviously, when we come back with Valerie Plame Wilson. Don't go away. We are glad to be back with Valerie Plame Wilson, former CIA agent whose identity was leaked to the press. Before we get down to some more business, I want to know, you had 3-year-olds at the time, right? And I cannot imagine what it was like to, I try to balance work, Sherry. We've all done it, work and kids, never mind being a spy with kids. How did that happen? How did it go down?
It's like every working mom.
No, it's not like every working mom.
I had a little unusual career, but it's the same. You feel guilty no matter where you are. And when they were really young, if I had to work on weekends, I would bring them in because they didn't know.
The other moms at the PTA meeting.
No, she didn't tell them she was a spy.
What did they think you did? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, whatever my cover was at the time, consultant,
they
and in Washington. People, everyone's a consultant, and they just let that go. Yeah. And secondly, to be honest with your friends, with your close friends, you're not talking about what you do at the office. You're talking about hair and husbands and kids.
Right. But here's the question I have to ask you. Given everything that's happened, how do you feel about the American justice system? Should we be concerned about how justice works, even for the folks who work within the system, or?
Despite all that has happened to me and my family, and there were some deeply dark days and very disappointing moments, we still, without a doubt, live in the greatest country in the world. And when I speak to groups, particularly young people, I always urge, please consider public service as a career. It doesn't have to be the CIA, but something to give back, something, it sounds corny, but is bigger than yourself.
Well, you know, anyway, you emerged from it victorious. You were right, you and your husband were right, and everybody knows it now, and they were wrong.
There's that, but you know what is more important is that we are happily married. We have 2 great kids, and we're moving forward.
Now, I'm interested in this. The U.S. and Russia, they recently exchanged the 10 spies that were arrested here for 4 that were convicted in Russia. So the 10 people who were posing as spies for years. Yeah. Do you think that there's even more spies?
Well, from what I understand, the FBI was following them for close to a decade. So I'd like to think that they were able to pull in all those threads.
I be looking at her. She could be a spy. Elizabeth, right here.
That's right.
You might want to look across the table, baby.
I'm covert. I also want to ask you about the new documentary you have called Countdown to Zero. It actually makes a case for eliminating all nuclear weapons, and we have a clip of it, so check this out, then we'll talk.
Without question, Iran is trying to get a nuclear bomb. They've made that very clear, despite their promises that they were only pursuing civilian, peaceful objectives for their nuclear program. They're really good at trying to bring things in that can be used for their nuclear program. The Iranians have worked very hard at disguising and hiding their facilities. Many of their facilities are in crowded urban areas and underground, extremely well protected from any sort of aerial bombing.
You also believe bin Laden and al-Qaeda are determined to get them and use them on us. Really, is that where we're headed? I mean, you really believe this is going to happen, don't you?
Oh, I do. I mean, from my experience in the CIA, I worked at that nexus of terrorism and WMD, and we are in a completely different world than where we were during the Cold War. You had that Cold War paradigm, bipolar world. Now, with the proliferation with terrorism, it is much more dangerous. And that is what Countdown to Zero is pointing out. It really serves as this, I think, a very powerful, very compelling wake-up call. No one talks about this anymore. The Cold War ended. It seemed to go away. Everyone's sort of, shoo, and it's just not in vogue. And it's from the same producers who did Inconvenient Truth. And the hope is, just as who really spoke about global warming in any meaningful way before that movie came out, the power of film is tremendous. And Countdown to Zero, I hope, will serve as that same push to go, you know, here's something that we haven't done much about in nearly 2 decades.
I have one more question, because I think your old man is quite wonderful. Will he return to government work ever again? Will he ever serve with the government again? Will Joe come back?
Joe?
Yeah.
You know, both of us would be absolutely honored and delighted to serve our country in any capacity again, but I don't know what the future holds.
Well, we wish you both well. Thanks for coming by, Valerie. Great to get all this information. Our thanks to Valerie Plame Wilson. Countdown to Zero will be in select theaters this Friday. We'll be right back.
Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view, however cross-eyed.